good evening, and welcome to Tea Time.
Hi everybody, welcome to Tea Time. I'm so glad you're joining me tonight. It is March 20th. Happy spring! It's officially spring. I'm so excited. I'm going to talk about my weekend real quick and then get to my guest. Friday night we were here at beautiful Paradise Studios for the open mic. And guess who was here with me? There they are. Maytel Angel and George Papadematis was here, and they sang. We all sang. They stayed for the open mic. They saw me do a little comedy, and they stayed and they sang, and we had a blast here on Friday night. Saturday, I was in Brooklyn for the movie premiere of The Devil's Playground, and there's a picture that Bobby's going to put up. I think there's a couple of pictures. One is with Frank Mancuso, who was in it. There is Frank, and there's Victoria Stevens. She was in the movie as well, and it was really great. My friend Danielle was there too. Took a quick pic with her, and I'm hoping to have Danielle on the show one of these days. There she is. I love working with her. And then Sunday, I actually was here last night for Limo Talk. And when I get together with the guys, I just want to say one thing. You know, I've been with Limo Talk a really, really long time. And like Robin is to Stern, I'm like their Robin. And I was on this show consistently and then not. And now Graz kind of wants me back, which I'm happy about because I have such a great time with them. So I had a great time with the guys last night. I just want to say thank you again. And Teresa, who you see on Limo Talk, is very, very different from the Teresa you see on Tea Time because anything goes on their show as far as subjects and verbiage. But here it's a little bit more tame. So if you want to watch my hair come down on a Sunday night, watch Limo Talk. Murdered by the Mob. Murdered by the Mob is the longest murder mystery show in Manhattan. It's been running for 27 years, and I will be playing Donna Rosella on Thursday, March 30th. We're doing the show in Bayside, Queens. We're still looking for a venue on Long Island, but that's where we're going to be. In Queens. So please call Bourbon Street, make your reservations. It's from 7 to 10. It's like going to an Italian wedding, someone gets whacked, and you got to figure out who did it, okay? There's dancing, there's singing, there's music. It's just so much fun. It is definitely something you want to experience, especially, you know, with friends. So come on down to that. And then I just want to say that I got a text today from my good friend Chad L. Coleman. Chad was on my show. There he is. Chad was in The Wire and The Walking Dead. And he is now in the series Superman and Lois. And he plays an evil character. And he is inviting me and anyone else who'd like to join him in Manhattan tomorrow night at the Amsterdam Billiards. And the address is 110 East 11th Street, and that's going to be from 7 to 10. The show actually starts at 8. So we're all going to be gathering around Chad and watching him on Superman and Lois. I'm excited. He's in New York, and I'm going to get to see him tomorrow night. So listen, I'm going to get to my guest because there's a lot to talk about, and I'm excited to have Perry Williams with me. Good evening.
Good evening to you.
I'm so glad you're here. I'm excited. He is a former New York Giant, number 23, two-time Super Bowl champion, and my second professional athlete that I've had on the show.
I'm honored.
Because everyone knows I've had Doc Gooden on, and I'm trying to get him. I will get him here again. You know, he's living on Long Island now, so there's no excuse. But welcome, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. Your new name now is Miss T.
And Miss T.
Not T, but Miss
I
T.
love it. I love
it. It's a pleasure to be here.
I
I'm happy. Thank you for
appreciate
having
it.
me on here.
I'm excited you're
I'm
here.
honored to be a part of this today.
Oh, thank you so much.
And looking forward to our
I want
talks.
everyone to get to know you. Obviously, you played for the Giants for a long time. You were actually with them from '84 to '93.
Actually, 83.
Oh,
The
83.
94. Yeah,
Okay.
I got drafted in 83.
Right.
Out of NC State.
You were drafted in the 7th round.
Yes.
Seventh round.
Back then, Miss T, it was 12 rounds in those days.
Right,
Now
right,
they
right.
cut it down now to the draft is coming up pretty soon.
Yeah. By the time
7 rounds.
by the time they're done, they get through with the Super Bowls already here.
Yeah.
It's a long process.
Yeah, it is. It's a
But I want
process.
everyone to get to know you a little bit more intimately.
Okay.
So, you're originally from Hamlet, North
Yeah,
Carolina.
most people never heard of Hamlet. Where? So my points that I talk about is Charlotte, North Carolina, and Raleigh. I'm in between Charlotte and Raleigh.
Right.
I grew up in, I don't know if you into jazz. You into jazz
I
music?
love jazz.
Well, there's a guy named John Coltrane.
Oh, yeah.
He's from Hamlet, North Carolina.
Uh-huh.
He's a legendary guy that we come out of my town. He was way ahead of me, of course.
Nice.
But we have a memorial of him down there in North
Yeah.
Carolina in Hamlet. So
Nice.
we're very happy. You may have heard another guy from Hamlet. He was from my county also. Richmond County is called in North Carolina. A guy named Andre the Giant, the wrestler.
Oh, yes.
Andre lived in my area
Oh,
too.
wow.
Yeah, so we had a lot of guys, come out, a lot of professional athletes.
Yeah.
And this little town, a radius of about 50,000 people in the whole county. And we had about 26 NFL players come out of there.
Wow.
So we got
That's incredible when you think
The
about
ratio
it.
is crazy.
Went
but-
to Richmond Senior High School.
Yes, yeah.
And I wanted to know, were you always into sports
Yeah.
at a very young age?
Yes, absolutely. I got involved in 1971. I was born in 61, so 10 years old, I fell in love with football.
Was that the first time you held a football? Was like when you were 10?
When I was 10, I
Yeah.
joined the Little League, Pop Warner League.
Okay.
I started my mom and my grandmother, and they let me try out with the team. I made the team, and I was so happy to be part of the football and program, and that's how I got started. So I started when I was 10 years. So I've been affiliated with football over 50 years.
long time,
Over 50
a
years.
long
I'm
time.
61 now, so it's been a while.
It's been such a journey because you also went to North Carolina State.
Yes, in Raleigh.
And not only did you play football there, but you also ran track.
Yes, I was a track and field guy. I was a dual scholarship. When I came out of high school in 1979, I
You're
graduated.
smart. Smart. They say in
So-
Boston, smart.
Smart.
I have to learn a Boston accent. Smart.
But yes, when I went off, signed to go to North Carolina State, Wolfpack in Raleigh, North Carolina, I had a dual track and football scholarship.
Wow.
I ran track. I was a sprinter, so I was into that.
Yes,
stuff.
talking about sprinting, you ran a 55-meter indoor track record
Yes.
in like 6.22 seconds or something.
Well,
I was
had a
like,
little.
what?
I had a little gas in my tank.
I was
back
going to
then.
say not for nothing, but is that I can't even imagine.
Well, it was
that was
pretty
like
good.
you get whiplash watching you run.
I don't know if you're familiar, was told as well, but in 1980, my sophomore year at NC State, I qualified for the Olympics. I was in the Olympics in 1980.
Oh wow!
As you all aware of, and you listening audience here, 1980 was a boycott. Jimmy
it
Carter
was.
boycotted America. I was one of those kids who did not get a chance to go. I had qualified. I ranked #1 in the world in 200 meters at the time.
Wow.
A guy in the state of New Jersey, not too far from New York here, a guy named Carl Lewis was one of my dual threat. We was going at it for us, trying to get ready for the Olympics, and unfortunately, none of us went in that year of 1980. So
Wow.
I had to keep going from there and play football the rest of my career.
So you you played and got drafted right out of school?
Yes, in '83. Yes,
Yeah.
I got in college in '79. This draft came out in '83, and I got drafted. Got a phone call from the New York Giants, and it was,
I mean, what was that like? Was that like a pinch me moment?
well, I was happy to get a chance to get drafted. I didn't have no idea that I was coming to New York. I thought I might go to Florida team.
I was going to say, where did you want to go?
Well, I grew up
I
in
know you
North
wanted
Carolina.
to play, but
Yeah.
where did you want to end up?
Well, being from North
Closer to
Carolina, it was
home.
the weather was warmer in like Florida, or you go to California or whatever to
Yeah.
play. But then I got a call and said, "This is Kim. I'm the secretary for Bill Parcells. He want to talk to you."
Wow.
So Bill Parcells got on the phone in 1983 and he said, "Welcome to NFL and welcome to the New York Giants." And the way I started. That's my journey, and I started with that.
Bill Parcells was actually started out, I think, as the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, he was the coach with one of my other teammates, a guy named Lawrence Taylor. A lot of people know about LT.
Yeah.
I played with him my
Yeah.
whole career. LT Parcells was the defensive coach in '81. In
Right.
'83, Bill became the head coach.
The head coach,
in
right.
1983. And another Bill that we had, people may have heard of, Bill Belichick.
Yes.
So he was my coach my first 8 years also. So had a litany of coaches rather.
Well, listen, we're going to take my first break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Parcells, because you have a funny sneaker story that I heard that I want you to share, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
All right, so listen, we're going to be right back with Perry Williams. Don't go away. We'll be back after this.
Wonder Woman was everything to little girls, especially that look like me. She stands for being a voice for people that need a voice. My organization renovates homes for people with disabilities. And when I come home, a self-care routine makes me feel my best. I'm very proud of the difference that we're making, and to see that impact in my community inspires me to work even harder for everyone around me.
Well, hi there, Teresa. It's John York from General Hospital. I am just checking in because apparently you have a great talk show called Tea Time on Strong Island TV. I want you to have continued great success and have a lot of fun. It sounds like you're having a lot of fun, and that's pretty much the key to everything, isn't it? So continued success. I'm proud of you. Have a great day, Teresa. Bye.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. I'm so glad you're joining me tonight. I'm with Perry Williams, former New York Giants. He won 2 Super Bowls, people. 2 Super Bowls, lived the dream, dreamt about playing football, touched a football when he was 10 years old, got drafted into the NFL with the Giants straight from school, really, and worked with Parcells and Belichick, like you mentioned. Yes. And you have this really funny sneaker story, if you want to tell it, because I heard
Bill Parcells, his hair probably raised up on his head when I tell this story. But no, it was a story in one of our training camps in the Giants back in the mid-'80s. Bill was, he was tough, and he believed in discipline. And I remember catching him one day before practice and training camp at this place we had in training camp at that time in Westchester, New York, called Pace University.
Yes.
And we used to train up there. So at that time when I got here, and Bill I saw something that was the oddest thing I ever saw, Miss T. He took off his sneakers, took off his socks, sports socks, or sportswear sock, and he put sand and rocks and pebbles in his sneaker. And then he did not put his socks back on.
No.
he just left them off and he was going barefoot, I guess, with his sneakers on.
Wow.
And all that rocks and the sand, I guess it irritated his foot or whatever, and he got upset and just started going off on the team. So,
Yeah.
But that was like a reverse psychology thing that he played on himself. He was big with that. He tried to tip into everybody, social, emotional standpoint, and see where your mind was at, how you wanted to work, and if you didn't want to work hard. But he was a great coach. It's no secret.
Oh, yeah.
He made the Hall of Fame. Bill Belichick for sure going to the Hall of Fame.
yeah.
So I've been around, and Tom Coughlin should be in the Hall of Fame. So all these guys, Tom Coughlin, Bill Belichick, Bill Purcell, Romeo Cornell, Charlie Weiss. I had all these guys on my coaching staff when we were playing. So we had a dynamic team and dynamic coaching staff.
Yeah, dynamic players also, like you mentioned LT before, Lawrence Taylor, but you were always also with, and I have to read them so I don't leave anyone out, Harry Carlson.
Harry Carlson, yes, Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Carl Banks.
Carl Banks, he's on TV on the Giants Network.
Yeah, Pepper Johnson.
Pepper Johnson, yes.
Right? You had Gary
Reasons
on.
Yeah.
And then, your defensive linemen, you had, not too shabby, you had Leonard
Marshall.
You had George Martin.
Yeah.
And Jim
Burt.
right?
Yes.
So you had a nice crew.
We had a litany of great guys. And then on
Around
the
you.
secondary, on my position, on the other side, we
Yes.
had Mark Collins, we had Terry Canoa, we had Kenny Hill.
Yeah.
The football fans, Giant fans, Giant Nation, as we
Yes,
call it,
yeah.
they know the guys and they remembered. And we had a great litany of great guys. And Curtis McGriff, another one, great lineman we had. Pepper, like you said, Gary Reason,
Yeah.
Harry Carson. We can go on with that, but not only with that, but our offense was potent too. We had Phil Simms and we had
Hello.
Jeff Hostetler, our other quarterback.
Well, I have to tell you, Perry, I've only been to one football game in my life.
Okay.
And unfortunately, it wasn't a Giant game. I have to tell you, I'm from Queens.
Okay.
And my dad took me to Shea Stadium
Oh, the Jets.
to see the Jets. And Joe Namath was the quarterback.
Oh, okay. Broadway Joe.
So that was my only live game I've ever been to
Well,
in my
that was
life.
a good game to go see Broadway
It
Joe.
was.
He was a great player.
It was.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, someone had kicked a field goal. And back then, things were set up very differently. And
Yeah.
they were actually like almost on top of the people there.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy is able to lean over and hug it. And when they kicked the field goal and the football went into the net and dropped down, it literally landed in this guy's hands. And I'll never forget. And he runs up the stairs. And I looked at my dad. I'm like, I'm little. I'm like, can you do that? And he goes, he's not going to keep that ball too long.
He's not gonna keep,
It's like, okay. But that was my first football game.
hopefully
I love
you-
football.
Oh,
I love
okay.
all
All right.
sports. I
Fantastic.
really do. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. But what I want to talk to you a little about is how much the sport has changed since you've played, especially when it comes to the physicality of it and injuries and having that defibrillator on the field.
Yeah. Well, that was a terrible situation that happened with the young man from Buffalo Bills early, this year. I'm so happy that he was able to recover and forget about playing football. If
Right,
that's the
right,
case, just
right.
be living and
Yeah.
life is more important. Hopefully everything work out with him. But yeah, the physicality of professional football or football in general, high school or college or whatever, professionally, it's changed a little bit. The physicality. One thing about hitting the quarterback, you get his hands off with the quarterback now. They don't want you to
Talk
test
about
it.
hitting the quarterback. Let's just say you've had 5 sacks.
Oh, yeah, I
Let
had
me
a-
read a little stats. Can I do little stats? First of all, you played 146 games and started 122 of them. Okay, but you've had 18 interceptions, 8 recovery fumbles, 5 sacks, 79. The INT. You got to tell me what that means.
Interceptions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Interceptions. That's part of that. Yards, part of the 18.
Yards and running back.
Okay,
yes.
got it. But this is not too shabby here.
Well,
So when you go in for that sack, there has to be nothing better than hitting that
It's-
quarterback before he could throw the ball.
Well, I tell you, I was a thrill for me, Miss T, because mostly defensive backs. The position I played as cornerback.
Cornerback.
It wasn't designed for them to really do that.
Right.
Bill Belichick came up with that brilliant idea because everybody thought Lawrence Taylor was going to rush the quarterback every time. Sometimes he would send me instead of LT.
And they weren't expecting
And they
that.
weren't expecting it.
Yeah.
And I'll utilize my speed to get there faster. So he kind of utilized my speed.
Were you faster than LT?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Well, as I said, I had the world record at one time.
Yes,
so
you did.
He was a great ball player, but and he fasted on top of that, but he didn't have that track background like I had.
Yeah,
but,
and I think that was a big plus for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
We have some pictures. Bobby, you want to put up some pics?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Okay. He's got
yeah.
Sorry. Well, we do have some pics while we're talking about you playing.
Yeah.
He's just going to throw up some pics. Yeah. There's just a couple. There's just a couple that I found
that other guy that St. Louis Cardinals did, that was O.J. Anderson.
Oh.
Now, O.J. ended up being traded from St. Louis to come to the Giants.
Really?
In the middle of the season, 1986.
Wow.
So that was O.J. Anderson. If people look at that, number 32 from the Cardinals there.
Right.
That's O.J. Anderson, but he ended up coming with us. Thank God he came with us. So he was a great ball player himself.
Wow.
So, yeah. I caught an interception
Yes,
there.
you did.
Yeah, Detroit Lions. I remember that one in the end zone. had a little action going on.
Yeah.
Back then.
That's great.
But I thoroughly enjoyed being there, working for the Mayer family. My 11 years and my last 2 years working with the Tisch family, who bought into the team.
Yes.
So they were great people. I had a tremendous great time there, winning games, winning championships.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't
You
get
have to
much
tell
better.
me. You have to tell me about the Super Bowls.
Okay.
How stressful were they?
Stressful, I would say you're on edge a little bit.
Yeah.
It wasn't stressful to me. It was a dream come true for me.
It's exciting. Your adrenaline is going. There's so
yeah.
many emotions going through your
Yes.
head. And Lord knows you want that ring.
Can you imagine? You can imagine, at 10-year-old, I was dreaming about that.
How crazy.
And I'll tell you a quick story.
So
if we got
surreal.
time,
we got time.
I'm going to tell you a quick story. It's called the toilet bowl story.
The toilet bowl
Yes,
story.
1972. I told my mother and my grandmother. My mother and father was divorced, so my mother and my grandmother had my mother raised me.
Yeah.
And I was sitting down in front of the TV in the living room in my grandmother's house in 72, and I was looking at a football game. Can't remember what game it was, professional game.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my mother and my grandmother that particular time, I said, one day I'm going to be on TV. Not only am I going to be on TV, I'm going to play in the Super Bowl.
Wow.
11 years old. And so my grandmother, of course, my grandmother and my mother looked at one another.
Talking about putting it out into the universe.
Yeah, she was rolling the eyes at each other. And this boy heard my mother told my mother, say, you hear this boy talking about he's going to play pro football, get a scholarship, which is great, go to school, that might be fine. But playing in the NFL and talking about playing on TV and talking about playing in the Super Bowl. So only kind of Super Bowl you probably end up playing is the toilet bowl. But you can imagine, they laughed about it, but I was serious. I had something for whatever reason. It was stuck in my mind to do that. And on that journey, on that mission, I took off. And 14 years later, I was in my first Super Bowl. So I called back to North Carolina, back to Hamlet.
Yeah.
And I talked to my grandmother. Unfortunately, she couldn't go to the game. And my first Super Bowl was in Pasadena, California, in the Rose Bowl.
Super Bowl 21, right?
Yeah, 1987.
Yep.
And in any event, we talked the night before the game. My grandmother and the rest of my family was out there.
Yeah.
I asked her how she was feeling. She said she's hanging in there. She said, well, tomorrow you beat those boys good, which was John Elway and the Denver Broncos. So I said, well, it's going to be a tough game, but we're going to win, Mama. And she said, okay. She said, make sure you win. I said, and before she hung up the phone, Miss T, I said, hey, Mama. She said, yeah, what is it? I said, what you think about that toilet bowl kid now? So she fell out laughing, of course.
That's great.
And I do a lot of corporate speaking, and we'll get into that as we go along here.
That is
but
great.
I tell that story with a lot of corporations when I do that motivation story.
That's a great story.
The toilet bowl
Oh
story.
my God, that's great. And then, 4 years later, you're back for Super Bowl 25.
Yes, yeah. And Buffalo Bills, wide right. Scott Norwood missed that. Thank God. I owe him a thank you letter for missing that because they gave me another diamond ring. So. But yeah, that was a great game too. Jim Kelly, the great Jim Kelly. I got to know Jim over the years as
Yeah.
well. Great ball player himself. But I'm sad for him in the sense he never won a Super Bowl. 4 of them he went to.
Yeah.
Never won.
Not
But he
too
was a
many
great guy.
not too many people get to the Super Bowl.
Nah,
That is like,
yeah.
you know, that's the ultimate.
It's-
You know, it's
yeah,
like winning an
yes.
Academy Award. There's
Yeah.
there's nowhere to go after that. I mean, except back.
Yeah.
And you went twice.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I was very fortunate. I know we talked earlier on before we came on air here, but spirituality, I was a faith believer. I believed that I could do it.
Yeah.
And so now, I mean, we gonna talk more. I don't want to get ahead of myself
Yeah, no,
here.
we are. We're gonna
but-
we're gonna
Yeah.
talk about. I just want to give some quick shout outs before we take another break
Yeah.
to Ann and Liz and Frank, everyone watching the show. Really appreciate it. Please like the show. Please share it. Perry was great. Frank saying you were great on the Giants. You were great. Bobby Inns is watching. Hello, Bobby Inns. Bobby does limo talk here
Okay,
on
fantastic.
Sunday night.
Hello, Bobby.
So thank you for watching and joining Perry and I. And just an amazing career, an amazing story, and putting that out into the universe at such a young age, and then you know having that accomplishment. I mean, it had to be a pinch me moment.
Yeah,
It had to be like, wow, I'm really running out into the field.
When
and
it
I'm
really dawned on me, the first Super Bowl, 1987, Pasadena, California, the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all,
Yeah.
and going running and being introduced. The defense was introduced that day.
Yes.
And what I
They
dreamt
call your
about
name.
from the 11, 12 years old growing up until I
Yeah.
finally got
Yeah.
there. Yeah, I always visualized the announcer, you know, and from Hamlet, North Carolina, number 23. And I used to visualize that as a young
Wow.
boy, and I had that vision. And when that day we called the introduction and we got ready for the game, and that voice came on, number 23 from Hamlet, North Carolina.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
but they said NC State actually.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
where I
yeah.
went to college, but
Yeah.
I ran on the field, 103,000 people at the game. A lot of movie stars actually hollering my name.
Yeah.
Who was that? Dustin Hoffman. You can imagine Dustin Hoffman hollering Perry Williams. Come on, Perry. You know, let's go. But Dustin Hoffman made a movie in my hometown some years
yeah?
back.
Oh,
You know, I
really?
forgot the name of the movie, but it was a part of a movie, the section they made in my little town of Hamlet.
Oh.
Yeah, and Dustin Hoffman was there.
That's
so
nice.
somebody told him that was my hometown, so he said, gave a shout.
That's great.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so you had this amazing career, you know, with football.
Yeah.
Did you ever? But let's back up just real quick. What was your major? Because you majored in what when you criminal
In college?
criminal
Yeah, criminal justice with a minor in psychology.
criminal justice with a minor in psychology.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, obviously, did you think about what you were going to do
Oh,
after
yeah.
football?
Of course. Yeah, I mean, you have teachers, and I was in grade school, or middle school, high school, and I really started getting real serious. You know, get your grades. You got to be able to have a backup plan. If something happened, Perry, you know, you got to have education. Just have that. If you don't
yeah.
have anything, at least you got that.
Did you ever get really, really hurt on the field?
No,
Like any kind of
I got
major-
banged up a couple times.
Yeah, but no, thank God, no
Yeah,
major.
no, I never had an operation, never broke a bone, never pulled a muscle.
Oh Lord Jesus, you lucky.
Now, I had a spinal cord contusion once. That was with the Giants, and I played, and I was paralyzed from my neck down.
Oh wow.
For about 10, 15 minutes. But it's like hitting your funny bone.
Yes,
You had that
yeah,
chicken
yeah,
bone,
yeah.
they call it.
Yeah, yeah.
That happened in my whole body. But my body came back right, and I
thank
had
God. Uh-huh.
to sit out for some games. And there's a surgeon they sent me to in the Giants to Pennsylvania. And said you should be all right. Just keep your head up. That when she was talking about
Okay.
earlier about the danger of the game.
Right.
You know, a lot of kids, it's the proper way of playing sports.
Yes.
You gotta, especially football, because you know it's a barbaric thing. It's a ram. You know, you're constantly hitting each other,
Yes.
ramming into each other.
Yes.
With that and doing the proper thing, I messed around and made a tackle with my head down. It's like this way,
Right.
instead of having my face up
Right,
that way.
right.
And so that happened to me. But I got out, got all right, and I played another 6 years. So
Wow.
I was very blessed by the man upstairs.
Yes.
Gave me an opportunity
Yes.
to live my dream.
Yeah.
And how about coming to New York, the Mecca?
Wow.
You know, if I'd have went to Florida, if I'd have went to the West Coast, who's to say? I probably would have never played in no, Super Bowls. Or,
maybe.
I don't know how long my career would have
everything
lasted.
happens for a reason the way it's supposed to.
Yeah,
That's
so
how-
I
that's
came to
how-
New York.
that's
I
how
was like,
believe.
yeah, I'll tell you another
You
quick
ended
story.
up you ended up where you were supposed to be.
I'll tell you a quick story there, Miss T. You give you a good laugh and your
I'm just
audience a
calling
good
you
laugh.
Miss T. I love it.
As I said earlier, Boss Sales got on the phone. Congratulations, we got a prepaid ticket for you to fly from Raleigh, Durham to Newark, New Jersey. By the Meadowlands. And I said okay. And I said I had no idea that Newark had an airport. I thought I was gonna fly to LaGuardia or Kennedy.
Right.
I said, well, Newark, where's that, Coach?
Right,
He said, Newark, New Jersey. That's where we fly into.
Yeah.
So that was my first time experience when I'm flying in from Raleigh, Durham. So you flying from Raleigh, North Carolina, you're coming up, you're northbound to New York. As I remember descending when the plane was getting ready to land, I looked to the right and I saw the Statue of Liberty and I saw the skyscrapers. I was like, oh, this is New York. That was my first experience. Yeah, I was like, I'm here.
And you never left, huh?
Never left. I make my home in North Carolina, of course.
Right. You go back and forth.
But I'm back and forth, and I've been in and out of here since 1983.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a great experience. I mean, I had people like that. It was a mentor to me, and a lot of people wouldn't realize it, wouldn't know this. But George Young was my mentor when I got up here. One of my mentors, and he was the general manager, the president of the New York Giants.
Okay.
And he kind of took me under my wing, his wing, I should say.
Yeah.
And he encouraged me.
That's nice.
And he gave me
It's
words
nice
of
to
encouragement.
have a mentor like that.
Yeah, even though he's the boss man and he runs the team. Obviously, the ownership, the Mayer family runs the team,
Right,
and then the
right.
Tisch family came in my last 2 years. But George Young, he passed away.
Yeah.
He was a great mentor. A lot of people don't even know that, and I never really talked about it. But he was one of my guys
That's nice.
that encouraged me.
Yeah.
And he told me the thing. I'll give you another quick story. He told me something when I first got here. He said, "Son, we know about you, about your town down Hamlin, the Rockingham area, and where you're from, and we know your mother worked in a textile mill. We know your grandmother was trying to help your mother." He said, "You do 3 things for me."
Okay.
Say, if you do, keep your nose clean, son, work hard, and do what the coaches tell you, you're going to play at least 10 years.
Wow.
And I was like, yes, sir. He said, you don't have to call. I said, no, sir. I understand. He said, just do what you need to do, and you'll play at least 10 years. Well, he lied to me, Miss T. I played 11 years.
I was going to say you played one extra.
So it was a good lie. So it was a great thing. I really
great.
enjoyed being in the Giants organization,
Yeah.
being there with them, winning.
Yeah.
It was like nothing like
It's
winning.
a family. It's a
Yeah,
camaraderie.
yeah,
It's just
yeah.
another extension.
Yeah.
Of,
So I talk obviously in North Carolina where I live, as your listening audience is watching here.
Yeah.
We got Charlotte team. We got the Carolina Panthers.
Yes,
I don't
you
even
do.
think about them. I tip my hat to them, or I give them respect because
yeah.
Charlotte, from where I live, is about 55 miles, 60
Right.
miles.
It's not
kinda,
far.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
that
it's not
far
that
from
far.
me. But I don't mess around over there. I stay in Giant Country. I go by Pinehurst, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
I play a lot of golf. That's a golf resort. One
Oh,
of the
you
Mecca.
golf.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's one of our Meccas in the country
Yeah.
in North Carolina. And so we got a lot of New Yorkers. I see a lot of New York Giant fans down over in that area.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take my second break. But please stay where you are because we have so much more to talk about with Perry Williams. We'll be back after this. Don't go away.
How you doing? It's Sal the Voice Valentinetti. Why are you watching me? You should be watching Teresa Canastraci Tea Time with Teresa Canastraci Farrell. And make sure you follow Teresa on Facebook. Tea Time with Teresa Canastraci Farrell. We'll see you there.
I love the way you say my name. I love. Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. I'm so glad you're joining me. Hey, listen, you want to come see me in a really, really fun show, Murdered by the Mob. I'm going to be in it. I'm playing Donna Rosella on Thursday, March 30th at Bourbon Street in Bayside. It's from 7 to 10. It's a lot of fun. It's very, very interactive. So if you're looking to sing, dance, laugh, It's a fun night out. It's the longest murder mystery show in Manhattan, and we're bringing it to Queens. So I hope you can join me. Just call Bourbon Street, make reservations, and if you come, make sure you come up to me and say hello. I am with two-time Super Bowl champion Perry Williams, number 23, who was with the New York Giants. And we've been talking about how he's a North Carolina
That's it.
man,
Homegrown.
and how he played for the Giants right out of school, how he had an amazing career with them, and how you majored in criminal and minored in psychology. So now, Perry, you're teaching.
Yeah, can you believe it?
You have students.
Can you believe it? No,
I can believe it. I can believe you could do anything. I mean, it might not be something you saw in your future,
right.
but you're very good at it.
Yeah, well, I like to think that I'm transformationally changing young lives.
I love that.
I started outreach in 1985 with the Giants, my third year. Going to various schools. With it, since 1985, and here it is 2023, throughout this metro area, New York, New Jersey, Long Island, all across the board.
Yeah.
Certain parts of Pennsylvania, I covered over 800 schools.
Wow.
And I would go and talk to kids about education and drug and alcohol awareness.
Yes.
And peer pressure.
Yes.
Talk to all of those different elements.
Tell me about the 3 do nots.
Oh, the 3 do nots. Do not quit anything you start.
Say that again.
Do not quit anything you start.
There you go.
Do not let anyone ever outwork you. And do not be intimidated by anything or anyone.
I like
the 3
that.
do nots.
I like that.
Refuse to lose. Refuse to give up.
Refuse to lose. And you also, you have another quote that I liked is, pressure only happens when you're not prepared.
That's right. Can you imagine? Just imagine if you didn't prepare to do what you do. Preparation.
Hello, I've been sitting here going, oh, I wonder what I should ask them. I don't know.
Failing to prepare is like preparing to fail.
Right.
And that's it.
Preach. I love it. I love it. I love it. No, because it makes sense.
I use a lot of adages, obviously.
I know you do, but I love hearing them. I really do.
You can, the most important tool to success is the belief that you can succeed.
That's the whole thing,
Yeah.
because it's like, and I say this a lot. I act. I'm an actor, and I do
Yes,
stand-up
actress,
comedy,
yes.
and it's not an easy field to be in, like an athlete. It's kind of like certain ones get,
That's
that
right,
certain
that's
picking.
right.
And my friends really support me. My family, they try to, and I keep telling my mom, I says, it's not. It's not if it's going to happen. It's a matter of when.
That's right.
And that's how I have to
believing.
look at it. I says,
Keep
I don't care if I'm 80 years old.
That's right.
And I say, where's the beef? Or I've fallen and I can't get up.
Believing is achieving.
Say, that's how. Yeah, exactly.
Believing is
When you
achieving,
feel it in your bones and you feel it in your soul. Because when you give up, then you give up on yourself.
That's right. Never quit. Never give up. The 3 do nots. Don't do it.
I like the 3 do nots.
The other thing that I would say for you as well, for words of wisdom, if I can say that to you, have the steel wheel mentality. See, I had that steel wheel mentality. I still have it.
Yeah.
I embrace that, and I try to lecture that or teach that to the students. You got to have a steel wheel mentality.
Right,
Not that everybody gonna play professional sport. Not everybody gonna be an actress. Not everybody gonna be a movie star or music industry or athlete.
I think in general, people also need to have a little bit more of a thick skin.
Yeah.
When you really can't take things personally.
Well, that's another thing. It's a business. Okay, it's nothing personal.
It's true.
When you're in that world you in the sports world, in the music industry.
They collide. You see a lot of athletes, a lot of sports, and you know who they are, who get endorsements or who become sportscasters, or it guides them into that.
But for
field
me,
too.
I had my lawyer up here he's based in Long Island, Melville, New York. There's a guy named Marshall Rosenthal. I had him my whole career, 10 out of my 11 years.
Right.
And I told him many times, it wasn't for me that I want to be interviewed to become maybe a sportscaster if I could try out or whatever. It wasn't my calling.
Right.
See, I listened to the voice, to the man upstairs, and said, no, that ain't for you. You ain't going to be on TV like that.
Right.
You're going to be dealing with these kids.
Right.
And so I started on that journey. And really, I started from 85 to 90. When in 95, when I started my outreach stuff, when I
Right.
started my initiatives and my program, and that's when divorce told me, say, just work with the young people. And so I had the opportunity all those years to work with young people. I have had the opportunity. I've traveled in 30 major cities throughout the country, and I've covered over 3 million kids.
Wow.
I did that for the United States Army. They was promoting the program. They
Yeah.
were there, and they asked me to go and set up these
But
characters.
touching those many lives is just, it's...
Well, see, what I say about that, Miss T, is if I can save one, it's better than none.
Oh, absolutely.
So my thing is, I've done my job if I can do that, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to travel around the country. A lot of people won't see me on TV. A lot of people, what happened to Perry Williams? Perry Williams is he's still beating the pavement, but you don't see it.
Right.
But in time, things are happening, and what's meant to be is going to be. So I'm honored that I had the opportunity to work with young people like that up until this point in time, because they are our leaders for tomorrow.
It's important. So what does success mean to you?
Being all you can be, giving your best each and every day, refuse to lose, refuse to give up, don't ever quit. Because one of my mentors, a lot of people wouldn't know this when you recognize it up here in New York. One of my mentors, he wasn't even a football. He was a coach, but he wasn't a football coach. His name was Jim Valvano.
Oh,
Jimmy V and I was very good friends.
Okay.
Coach V took me under his wing when I was going to my senior year of college.
Wow.
Because he was the basketball coach at NC State.
Yes.
And they won a national championship.
Yes, they did.
1983, the year I came out, he won a championship. So he and I became very good friends, and he always told me to keep believing in yourself, big guy. He always called me big guy. Keep believing. I know you can do it.
But it's so important as a young person to have such positive affirmations.
Right.
It really makes all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. Coach V was one of them. I can tell you another story. Coach V and he saw me one day on campus at NC State, 1983. The summer of 82. I'm sorry, 82. The summer of 82.
All right.
And he said,
That
"I
was a
want
good
you.
summer.
I want you to come to my camp." And I was like, "What, Coach? I'm not a basketball guy. You got All-American Thurl Bailey and Cindy Lowe and Dirk Wittenberg. You got these great basketball players around you." He said, "I want you to come. I want to introduce you to my campers." He had about 200 or 300 kids that particular day, that next day. And I showed up. I wondered why he wanted me. And he looked at me and he looked at the kids and told the kids, "Say, you see this guy right here? So one day he's gonna be a star in the NFL. And his name is Perry Williams. So don't ever forget his name." And that right there ignited it. Really took it to another level. Coach V is saying, "I'm going to make it to the big time."
Wow.
And so a year later, I was in it. And he called me and he congratulated me. "Big guy, you made it." And we had a great time. And Coach V, he was the one who gave me my first corporate event, a downtown athletic club in New York City. I went with him to speak at an event, and so he said, "I want you to be the guest speaker. I'm gonna be the keynote." Of course.
I mean, your first time ever speaking when you were
Like
little?
that, well, on that kind of stage in New York City.
Yeah.
I was still playing with the Giants. I had been playing with the Giants about 3 or 4 years then.
Yeah.
So I did my spiel, and he said, "Yeah, you see this guy, my man Perry." He said, "When he was at NC, I was at NC State. He was at NC State. He had on shorts and T-shirt and sneakers. Now look at him wearing Italian suits." Wearing the Bruno Magni shoes, and I look at him all marron. But he gassed me up that day. But he became, when he passed away in 1993, it was a sad day for me.
Yeah.
He was a great guy, and I really appreciated what he did to give the positive reinforcement to the young men or young women that you can do it. Doesn't matter, like me, where I come from. I come from the humble beginnings. I didn't have much growing up, but we made it. And so that gave me the willpower and the wherewithal to say, "I'm going to go and make it happen."
Right.
And I went on and I did it. And she said, "But my education, I took it another level, Miss T. When I was playing, I went back and got my master's degree while I was playing pro football. And so when I got out of the NFL, I had 2 college degrees.
Good for you.
So it was time for me to go to work. So I transitioned.
And so Where are you working these days on Long Island, Perry?
Well, the place called Long Island University, the Shark Nation. So
Yes.
I'm with the Sharks there. I got there in 2019, and it's been a great experience for me thus
Yes.
far. My president, the president of Long Island University, her name is Kim Klein, Dr. Kimberly Klein. She's also runs the other campus in Brooklyn campus as well. She's a North Carolinian herself, so you know
really?
now you got. So she don't. The funny thing about that, Miss T, she went to University of North Carolina,
She did.
and she was in school as a cheerleader. And guess who she cheered for?
No.
Lawrence Taylor.
Really?
How small the world.
Wow.
Yeah, so LT was there in college in University of North Carolina. Michael Jordan, all those people. She was a cheerleader. Now she, and you can imagine a lady. She transitioned from being a cheerleader, went to school. She got a master's degree. She got an undergraduate, master's, PhD, and a law degree.
That's
incredible. So that's a testimony right there.
Yeah.
When I tell the kids
and
that
look
when
how
I'm
it
my
comes
speeches.
full circle.
Yes.
Right?
So
From where you started
she
to-
don't let me forget that I went to NC State now, but she give me the business a little bit. But other than that, it's been a great experience. I got a lot of great people that work over there at Long Island University. A lot of them. I got another guy come off the top of my head, Chris Bates, Goldman Sachs. He was the chairman of Goldman Sachs at one time, managing partner.
Yeah.
He worked hand in hand with me every day. Izzar, he was the head of Sony at one time. He's the head of the accounting department.
These are no schleps.
That's right. That's right. It's first teamers, starters. So
that's
I
the
want to
first
work with
pick.
starters. I want to work with the sleps.
Well, hey, listen, we're going to take my last break. But when we come back, more with Perry, you're just so delightful, and I'm so glad you're here. So more with Perry Williams. Don't go away. We'll be back after this.
Doc, who's the best comedian you know?
Teresa Farrow.
And who's the best actress you know?
Teresa Farrow.
And who's the best cast member in Bad Boys?
Teresa Farrow.
Who's got the best radio?
Teresa Farrow.
Doc, who's your favorite guinea?
Teresa Farrow.
Who are you loving right now?
Teresa Farrow.
All right, Doc, I love you too, baby.
Love you as always.
Thank you.
Hey, welcome back to Tea Time, everybody. I am so blessed and honored to have Perry Williams here with me. He is a two-time Super Bowl champion. He played for the Giants. He has had an amazing career, and now he's transformed his second act into teaching and talking to young people and giving back and getting involved. And Bobby Inns said it looks like you could still play.
Well, in my dreams. It's like the Geico commercial. I can, like the possum. I can play dead if anything. But what I would say that on that is I still train.
Of course.
I work out 4 days a week.
Yeah, you look good.
I got a little gas in the tank. I don't know how much gas, but I got a little bit.
It ain't on E yet.
Not quite.
And hello, Bruno. Thank you, everyone, for watching the show. I really do appreciate you supporting me and Tea Time. So you are teaching, and you have, and we're going to talk about, you have something coming up on Friday. April
28th.
Hello, I have it
28th.
here. 28th, thank you. Here it is. I have amongst all my papers. I think I did send Bobby a picture now. Lawrence Davis, Larry, who I know, Larry, there it is,
Big L.
is going to be there as a speaker as well. You, along with, it's hard to see from here for me, but Liz is also in there, Liz Paulson. Hello, Liz, she's watching. Thank you for the connection here. But that is an all-day event.
Yes. Yes.
And how do you prep for something like that?
Well, you just go
And
get.
how do you know what to tell and what not to tell?
Well-
You've given a lot of talks.
Yeah.
Many, many, many times. So, I mean, does it depend on the demographic of the audience as far as age? Does it? I mean, how do
Well,
you know?
I kind of catered it to the business world, the savviness of the business,
Okay.
the compound contrast, the aspect of how the business world and the sports relation world, how it coincide, how it correlate to one another, parallel to one another. Talking about from leadership, and you're talking about teamwork concepts. You're talking about roles, understanding your role. If you're working in corporation, or if you're working in the sports industry, or if you're working in the music industry, if you're working as an actress or actor,
Yeah.
where you got to understand your role and appreciate your role.
That's a good one to know because sometimes people don't know
Yeah.
what their role is.
That's right. And so this program is based on, it's a corporate event, and talking with them on leadership and what is the definition of leadership. When some people ask the question a lot of time, leadership, I read this in the dictionary, encyclopedia, whatever, it said that leadership, a leader is a person or individuals who buys into one concept. What is a concept? A general idea, is a notion.
Right.
So you put this thing together as consensus that everybody understand and buy into what you're saying, then you have a chance to be successul.
Well, talk about successful.
Yeah, successful comes within.
Someone made you the deputy.
Yeah,
Deputy.
yeah, man. He's
You're
on.
deputy with
We can't leave my
Suffolk-
man
Hello?
out. You know.
You are deputy with the Suffolk County Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, I
Tell me
can't-
how that happened.
Well, I met Toulon, Sheriff Toulon. Met him several years ago at my office at Long Island University.
Really?
And we had a little conversation. He found out about my background as a criminal justice degree. And he said, I'm going to make you a special deputy sheriff. I said, okay, Sheriff.
That is so cool.
So my role with Suffolk County's Sheriff Department
Yes.
is really from an academic community outreach and stuff.
Right.
He and I are going next month to a program down there in Suffolk County. We got
Okay.
to go to school. I've done some other things with him, some of these executive conferences, law enforcement conference. I did one with him at Stony Brook.
Right.
Did that a year or two ago with him.
Right.
And some other things, fundraisers that we involved in, I helped
Right.
with him that way. I'm not on detail. I'm not riding around in the
No,
car with the
no.
but I do
but
go.
it's a pretty cool title
Well,
to have.
it's I call it pro bono. I'm giving back. I'm not getting anything from it. I got my badge. I do have my badge. I got my sheriff badge and everything.
Maybe. I don't know. But you are at Long Island University Post, and you are the director of sports management.
Yes.
And that's something you know a lot about.
Yeah, well, I've been involved with sports, obviously, dealing with lawyers and dealing with accountants and tax people,
Yeah.
from my experience from that,
Yeah.
marketing and branding and all of that. So I
Right.
teach the introduction to sports management, and I also have
Now
the
you
class.
teach two
class-
days,
2 days a week, two
2
classes.
days a week, 2 classes.
Yes, I teach
Yeah.
the other classes.
Is it sold out? I'm sure your class is sold out.
Well, yeah, I
Oh,
got
you're
one
a
at 20,
sellout. Come on.
23, 24 in one class in the sports management, and I got about 34 in my psychology class,
All right.
sports psychology. So we get into that and about the self-determination theories, and we talk about our self-handicapping. When you don't believe that you can do it, then you won't do it. It's all the
Yeah.
mind thing.
Yeah.
So we talk about peak performance, how you can go and maintain that peak performance, how you deal with stress
Right,
management.
because once you're there, how do you maintain it? Mm-hmm. That's the other thing.
I'm sure you've been exposed to that, being in your world or what you're in, competition and dealing with the competition adversary. It's the same thing. Who's the best? Well, we go find out
and
who's
time
the best.
and age is not on our side as we get older, because
Yeah,
I'm right there. I'm
So I
right
do
there
that.
with you.
Yeah, I'll do that. We also coming up in the fall. I won't leave out. Liz is Malello. She's one of my great
Yes.
instructors with me. She's
Yes.
a marathon runner. She do all
You
that
are her
running.
boss, technically, are you not? Are you
What's-
her boss, technically?
Well,
Technically?
well,
I don't know. She said
they
I
might
want-
say it on paper, but I say
Technically?
she's my teammate.
Oh, that's
See,
sweet.
I don't.
See that, Liz?
That's one thing I really don't get into that way.
Right.
Titles.
No, I like that.
Titles
I
don't
like
mean
that.
nothing to
I like
me.
that. I like
Titles
that.
don't mean
I like
anything
that.
to me. I want a team of people. So I
Right.
got
I like
couple other
that.
people. I got a
Yes.
lawyer working with law and sports law. We got a doctor, the chiropractor on our team, Jeff Poplowski. He's on that panel also. So I got people like that come in that is practitioners, got that background.
Right.
And I want people who's energized and have that synergy and energy.
Right.
I don't want no monitoring
Yes.
instructors.
Positivity.
That's right.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
I want everyone to know Liz actually started an Instagram page for you. So she'll be putting more stuff up there, obviously, including, the up and coming leadership event on Friday, April 28th. But it is under Perry Williams NY Giants. Okay, Perry Williams, New York, NY Giants. So you could go to his Insta. She's going to be putting more things up. The more things you do, she's going to be putting there. So if you want to see Perry live in person at the leadership event, go. Everything will be there as to how to get tickets, how to find him. Take a class.
Yeah.
Take a class. I want to take a
You
class.
come in anytime you want to. Anybody want to come in and sit in on a class with me? You're more
let
than
me
welcome.
tell you something. I think
you would enjoy the
let me tell you
psychology
something.
class.
I'm going to enjoy it all because there are times when people, and especially COVID, did not help everyone fall into a dark hole. And we've all been there at different points in our lives, and it's a matter of pulling yourself out.
That's right, by your bootstraps.
Correct.
That's right.
And just keep moving and
That's
keep
right.
moving forward because we all know that we only do this once.
That's right.
And it's very few people can say, I love my job. I can't wait to get to work. A handful of people. So any last words you want to say to everybody before we go? Any last?
Well, the one thing that I use quotes a lot of
I know.
adages and stuff.
Yeah.
One of the things that I use quite often, Winston Churchill once said, you make a living by what you get, but you make a life by what you give.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Listen, on that note, I want to thank everyone for being with me, with Tea Time, watching me, supporting me. Again, thank you, Perry Williams, for
Thank
coming
you.
in. Loved having you. My
Thank
door's
you.
open anytime you'd love to come back.
Appreciate it, Miss T.
I want to tell everyone you love them. And I'll see you next week, everybody. Ciao.